What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Hansen's Hints here in the fantasypoints.com podcast feed. I'm John Hansen, and I'm about ready to give out some hints here. New initiative for me in 2022. I'm going to try and start doing some solo podcasting, kind of let it all hang out a little bit more than usual on the podcast feed. So I already recorded the first one of these for 2022 as I wrapped up season projections this week at fantasypoints.com. I did the quarterbacks already, went over the whole board, basically, the landscape, what I'm seeing early on here, the player pool, and all that good stuff. Kind of got into my process a little bit. So check out that podcast if you missed it. And doing some video here with this one as well with the running backs. I didn't do the video for the quarterback one that I did previously. I was having a very bad face day, but today's not much better. But screw it. Let's get into it. Running backs here, 2022. Just wrapped up the projection process. Probably never spent more time before the draft getting the projections ready to roll out, and overall feel really good about where we are with everybody. It's early, but I feel like I've accounted for everyone, projected a bunch of players, like 385 running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and quarterbacks. And the theme throughout is depth. It's man, more depth than ever at really all the positions. I talked about the quarterback depth better than ever. I think running back is right there as well. I think you can go this year 60 deep in terms of viable options, guys who actually have a chance, guys who can play a little bit. And then even more than that in terms of stash and hope guys and the like here. So I did updated all the little designations on the website, fantasypoints.com, players tagged for upside, downside, players to target. And I also did add the tiers. So let's kind of go through these running backs by tiers. The first tier has 9 players and the obvious names: Taylor, Najee Harris, Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, Javonte Williams, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara, and Derrick Henry. Now, we are lower on Henry than probably everyone else. I know I am. I'm very concerned about the Titans. They lost Roger Saffold on the O-line. A.J. Brown, that loss was absolutely massive. He was one of the top leaders on the team, their identity in the passing game, honestly. And without him, Traylon Burks is, boy, that's a big ask. So you think back to Derrick Henry's big 2020 season, and you're like, okay, they had Roger Saffold then. He was 2 years younger than he is, obviously. They also had A.J. Brown, Corey Dillon, and Jonnu Smith. And Tannehill was playing at a high level. Tannehill fell off last year, probably because the receiving core fell off. So I think Derrick Henry's efficiency is about to take a hit. He'll get more attention than ever, more stack boxes. It's not great. And also the injury bug. And it's a concern given the massive workload. He's still going to be good when he's out there, but that body tends to break down. And we saw that last year with the injury. Something else could happen here as he gets more and more work this year. So I'm probably out on him. That's the first tier running backs. I'm inclined, if I get a crack at any of these dudes, to get one, because the talent does fall down after this tier, basically. In fact, between Derrick Henry, our RB9, and DeAndre Swift, our RB10, there's a pretty good difference here of almost 30 fantasy points. That's a lot. That's almost 2 a game, really. So DeAndre Swift is in that second tier. I still think pretty highly of him. Last year, I think, helped people out with our ranking of him. He was 39 overall. We had him at 30. I mean, it's not a huge difference, but maybe you were inclined to get him in the 3rd round. That's a difference of a round, by the way. And if so, it was a good pick for the most part. We have, by the way, this is a small tier. Dudes that, a drop off from the top tier guys, but better than the tier 3 guys. Actually, no, tier 3 is a small one. Tier 2 is pretty big. Tier 2 has DeAndre Swift and Aaron Jones Leonard Fournette, Nick Chubb. I'm not going to take Fournette myself because I'm anti-Leonard, basically. He is a bigger back. He has had injury problems. He is crappy in the passing game at times with his bad hands. I do love Rashad White, but Fournette fairly is in this second tier based on the massive role and based on the production from last year. We have our first rookie in this second tier as well with Brees Hall. I'm not that worried about the presence of Michael Carter. You need more than one running back anyway in the NFL to get through a whole season. And I very much believe in the talent of Brees Hall. He is squarely within that second tier, and I'll take him as my second back. And even in round three, he's in round four now, but he'll probably be in round three by the time we get to the summer. Maybe even infringing upon round two if things are going really, really well. Now, some of these other options in this second tier are available now in rounds rounds three, four, five, let's say. And it's a little unusual to get a guy like Zeke Elliott, who I'm not particularly high on, but RB21, we do have him at 15, and the ADP overall of 41 is not bad. I kind of like Saquon Barkley this year. I know it's been bad, and I am always worried about injuries, but I mean, the guy is still, 25 years old. He may still have his best football in front of him. It's not a foregone conclusion that that's in the rear view. If so, that would be sad. I'm getting good reports on his health. I like what they've done on the offensive line to protect Daniel Jones. That should give a little bit more support for Saquon when he touches the ball, whether it be in the passing game or the running game. And perhaps most importantly, very affordable. You can get him now in the third round, ADP around 36. So he's right there on that fringe. I actually drafted him already this week for a magazine mock draft, Lindy's magazine. I took him top of round three. I thought it was okay. We also have Antonio Gibson in this realm, in this second tier. I'm a little worried about, obviously, the drafting of Brian Robinson. That was more so speaking to the situation behind Gibson and Jared Patterson being only 5'6" and not an ideal RB2. But Ron Rivera has already said that he wouldn't mind it if Robinson had a healthy role right out of the gate and they kind of divvied up the backfield duties, much like they did in Carolina with D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. I actually interviewed both of those dudes way back when, around like 08, 09, and talked about how that phenomenon was going to prolong their careers, and they were in agreement, and it did prolong their careers. So that's not great. In this realm, though, we do have some buying opportunities for sure. I'm a big pedigree guy. I'm all about that. Travis Etienne, he's healthy right now with that foot, and ADP of 59, it'll go up, but that's not bad. And we don't know about James Robinson either. And he's, certainly comfortable with Trevor Lawrence, his college teammate. David Montgomery is a viable option for sure. Round four, round five. J.K. Dobbins, same deal, round four for the most part. So I am mostly into Dobbins and ETN in this group. Now, tier three is where there is a drop off again and some concerning players. Cam Akers, I just don't know what to think. He wasn't very good down the stretch. He looked pretty good, but the production was just terrible. So I'm very worried about him. I'm not feeling it. And right now, at 26, 27 overall, James Conner is like a fourth round pick. We've got him at RB22. His ADP is RB18. He's an older player. I'm very concerned about him. He's not that old, actually, but he kind of seems old, doesn't he? When you really add up all the injuries, not like he didn't have injury problems last year. So not loving him. Josh Jacobs, I was feeling pretty good about, but they didn't pick up that fifth-year option. Then they drafted Zamir White. They are crowded, so I'm not really feeling warm and fuzzy about him, but he's also in that third tier along with Elijah Mitchell, who, again, I'm not feeling Elijah Mitchell either. I know he was very good last year, but not a big frame. Got hurt a couple times. They brought in Ty Davis Price. They took him earlier than they took Mitchell himself last year. That could be bad news for Trey Sermon, of course. Moving down the board here, looking at the running backs, we're in now to tier four. and we're generally in the 70 to 90 range, let's say, overall. We do have some good options, though, still in this range. AJ Dillon is usable and handy for sure, with big upside if AJ or if Aaron Jones misses time. Devin Singletary is not bad. I know he's boring as hell, and James Cook's going to be a factor, but I don't think James Cook is getting more than 80, 90 carries. So I think Devin Singletary is still going to get 200 plus with 30, 40 grabs, 30, 35 grabs. Not bad, not bad. I'm very into what I call the sexiness of the unknown with these rookies. I think, again, you always get a little bit of a buying opportunity. We've seen it over the last couple of years with Jonathan Taylor and Javonte Williams, by the way. Those guys were a little down their rookie year. Even Taylor last year, his second year was kind of down. Dude was all world, and he was like, what, RB8 off the board? So Kenneth Walker is intriguing to me, around 75 overall. We'll see where that ADP settles in, and a lot to get to here. We'll see if Chris Carson is rolled out, which I think he will be. Dameon Pierce, no one is handing him the starting job. We don't want to assume he's the starter, but I'm about ready to assume he's the starter based on what I saw from that kid in college. I know he didn't get a lot of touches, which is a little weird thing. I'm not convinced Dameon Pierce is going to be the guy in 3 years, but I'm convinced he's going to be the guy now. And for 2022, that's all that matters. I watched him closely at the Senior Bowl. I really didn't know anything about him, but I went to Mobile and I watched him live at practice for 2 days, and I really like what I saw. He plays with a lot of energy. I thought he reminded me a little of Frank Gore. Pretty explosive and just energetic. A nice burst to his game, if you will. Good in pass pro. Moving down the board, though, in this range here of tier 3. Actually, we're into tier 4 now. Yeah, we're into tier 4. Tier 3 was small. That was just Cam Akers, James Conner, Josh Jacobs, and Elijah Mitchell. Tier 4 is pretty appealing, though. Some of the names I just mentioned, AJ Dillon and Singletary and Walker, all going off the board 70 plus picks in. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, let's call it 85. I'm in on that. I'm not feeling it for sure. I'm not that worried about Ronald Jones. He's not a good receiver. So why can't Clyde Edwards-Helaire pick up that receiving back role? If he's ever going to do it, this is it. Year number 3 for Edwards-Helaire. Again, he was 2 years ago going off the board like 12, 15 overall. And now you can get him at like 85. So that's not bad. Damian Harris, like 1,700 running backs in New England these days, but they trust him very much. And goal line back, going to get double-digit touchdowns again. Chase Edmonds, I'm not feeling it with a bunch of other guys in the mix, namely Raheem Mostert, but he is their primary back, in my opinion, right now. Maybe Mostert is right there with him, but yeah, Chase Edmonds, not bad. Then moving down the board here, we are just now moving into tier 5 at running back. Rashad Penny is a tough one, but he'll probably have value early on, and he could have a lot of value if Kenneth Walker has problems or is hurt. Michael Carter, Kareem Hunt, these are not ideal picks here in tier 5, but look at the price tags here for these players. Kareem Hunt around 90. Michael Carter will probably be around the same, 90 to 100. Not bad depth this year, a little bit better than usual. And then moving on to the next tiers, another tier 6. I like Nyheim Hines. Well over 100 picks in the draft is where you get him. He kind of died last year. We saw it coming with Carson Wentz there, but Matt Ryan will check it down to Nyheim Hines. James Cook. Here's a good one. 150 overall. Kenneth Gainwell. Guaranteed nothing, but they used him near the goal, and he was good. Some of the best hands on the team. I think the offense wants to throw it a little bit more. Jalen Hurts improved in his second full year as a starter. I really like him as a value ROI guy, if you will, at running back. We do have a lot of these rookies who are right now slotted in like the RB 40 to RB 50 range on our board, but we just don't know exactly where they'll be ADP wise. We need some more data, sample size to grow for these rookies. But Tyler Algier, in Atlanta. Could be a bell cow type of guy here. I mean, Cordero wore down. They let Mike Davis go. Isaiah Spiller, they've been looking in LA and San Diego, where Austin Eckler has been miscast really as a number one running back. You need a bigger guy to work in with him. That's what Austin Eckler himself basically asked for this offseason. And I think they got it with Isaiah Spiller. And I love my guy, Rashad White. ADP is going to be climbing and climbing. He'll probably end up being about 100 overall. Right now, he's about 150 overall. I think he has a role or can carve out a larger role right out of the gate. He's a bigger back who can play all three downs, much like Leonard Fournette. And I think he has better hands already than Leonard Fournette. I'm not a Fournette guy if you didn't know that already. And Raheem Mostert, Ronald Jones, well in the mix in their respective backfields. Kenyon Drake, I even like Khalil Herbert. He's only RB 52 on our board here. So 50 plus running backs are pretty good, like viable. And then beyond that, we still have some other depth options here. A lot of the rookies. Again, we'll see about Keontae Ingram, Brian Robinson. Those are RB 54 and 57 on our board. So as you can see, we can go 50 plus running backs in and still have viable options. Ty Davis Price as well here. And I'm looking even in the 70s. And granted, that's pretty deep, but even in the 70s, there are some guys with a chance. Hassan Hoskins is a good stash and hope guy. He'll be a league winning type if Derrick Henry is out. Let's see who else. Again, we're digging deep here, but Benjamin may hold some value here because there's touches to be grabbed in this backfield. But I think you get the idea. Really good depth here. So when I look at my, plan of action, if you will, at the running back position, I haven't changed ever, really. I mean, when everyone was doing this zero running back thing, I wasn't down with that at all. And now everyone's kind of bailing on the zero running back thing. I do want to be smart. So let's keep in mind the unusual depth this year. Let's be smart about our picks, judicious. I will focus on running backs who are young, durable, versatile. I will always look to get a discount on the rookies because they're unproven. So therefore, it's a buying opportunity. And I will always do what I do, which is do the projections objectively, add them up, see where the rankings are based on the projections, and then compare to the ADP. As I said, we've got plenty of good examples last year of this. Javonte Williams was 50. We had him at 37. Swift last year was 39. We had him at 30. AJ Dillon was 92. We had him at 76. Even a guy like Sony Michel, 107. We had him at 79. So that's really my goal, giving you, the people who are watching and listening and subscribing, an edge compared to the markets, if you will. Pretty damn good in that regard last year. Not going to get them all right, certainly. When an older guy does well, I'm usually screwed, like James Conner and even Leonard Fournette last year. I was not on them. So I am aggressive and I am all about young ascending talents, and that's my deal. That's what keeps me energized and all that. So, you don't have to go off of me, entirely. You use your own approach, but that's my approach. I'm very aggressive. So here are some guys that stand out to me just a little bit. And when I look at the ADP and compare it to where I have the players, not a big discrepancy here, but Javonte Williams is RB6. We've got him at 5. Dalvin Cook is RB7. We've got him at 6. Alvin Kamara is RB10, and we've got him at 8. Kamara is a weird one because I am always worried about older guys with some injury problems. He's getting a little older, but he's been incredible. He's been generally durable. He's recovered quickly from injuries. He's played hurt. Might be a little bit of an outlier guy, kind of a freak show, if you will. The next biggest discrepancy, or aka the next target for me, would be Breece Hall, the rookie. I'm not that worried about the presence of Michael Carter. Not a big discrepancy here, but the ADP, the early one, was RB17, and I've got him at RB14. There's a discrepancy here with Zeke Elliott, but I'm not targeting Zeke Elliott, but The markets have him at RB 21, which I think is that's a bit much. That's a little low. We've got him at RB 15. I do kind of like Saquon Barkley right now. I haven't priced at RB 16. That's what the ADP says, but I'm kind of feeling it. The vibes are good early on, getting good reports on the health, like certainly like Brian Daboll and what he's going to bring and his coaching staff. They're going to push Daniel Jones to be more aggressive. I like the Evan Neal pick at right tackle. The O-line should be pretty good on the edges there. Open up that perimeter maybe a little bit more for Saquon, again, who is looking pretty decent right now health-wise. Travis Etienne's a big one. I've got him at RB 18. He's only RB 24. He's a perfect example of a buying opportunity, even though he's not a rookie. Dude hasn't done anything yet, obviously, but the pedigree is there. The opportunity is absolutely there with Brian Robinson. We don't not Brian Robinson, James Robinson. We don't know about him coming off that injury. I also like J.K. Dobbins, even though I do have him priced at the market. One running back who does stand out in terms of being us being lower on him than the market is Cam Akers. I just don't know what to expect. I am conservatively slotting him as the RB 21. The markets, though, have him at RB 15. I mean, I get it to an extent. He could be a league winning type, but I didn't think he looked very good last year. They did lose Andrew Whitworth on the O line. I got a bad vibe overall on the Rams, so I'm going to be a little careful there. James Conner is RB 18. I can't sign off on that. We only have him at RB 22. Elijah Mitchell, I'm not into. RB 23, we have him at 24, so it's not that much of a discrepancy, but I'm not that into him. Same deal with Kenneth Walker, RB 27. We've got him at 27. Here's one decent example of a discrepancy. I know he's a pain in the ass, but Miles Sanders, RB 28, and we've got him. No, his ADP is that's where you have him at 28. His ADP is 33. I do feel good about the Philly offense overall, but come on, dude. Can you score a touchdown, Miles Sanders? Dameon Pierce, we'll see where the ADP settles in. So it's a tough one to say, like comparing it, but we do have him at RB 29. I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, RB 32 on the market. We've got him at 29. If he's ever going to do it, this is the year. Year 3, good O-line blocking for the run. Ronald Jones, not a huge threat. He could be, but the contract isn't much, and he's not a good receiver. So if Edwards-Helaire is ever going to do it in the passing game, it's got to be this year. So I kind of like him at RB 32 off the board. We've got him at 29. We do have, let's see. Here's probably the next biggest discrepancy, honestly. Nyheim Hines, RB 44. We've got him at 39. As we've mentioned, Matt Ice will check it down to him, unlike a Carson Wentz. Kenny Gainwell, we have at RB 41. He's RB 47. Tyler Algier is a target for now, or at least he has upside, but I just don't know where his ADP will settle in. Isaiah Spiller, it's a tough one. We're actually lower than the markets, but let's see where the markets settle in here. RB 31 of the markets, that's ridiculous. I do have him at RB 45. Rashad White, I mean, this is ADP data that's catching up quickly because it shows him as RB 46 already, and I have him at RB 48. But rest assured, I'm all in on Rashad White. I'll go as high as the markets. I'll keep going higher as long as I still feel good about Rashad White. So I think I've given a pretty good overview here of the position. It's pretty deep. You want to get in the running back business. I just want to be smart about it. I don't want to take a running back just because I feel the pressure to take a running back. And I want to focus on players who generally have their best football in front of them and are young or younger, durable or relatively durable, and versatile. And again, always looking out for those rookies to get that buying opportunity. So that'll be a wrap here for the running back segment of this podcast here, Hansen's Hints on the Fantasy Points podcast feed. And I'll be back with wide receivers and then tight ends. And then I'll get into specific topics like I'll do a podcast on my draft plan, essentially, breaking down the plan of action. And then I'll probably do at least one podcast per week here, flying solo here, trying something new this year to see where it goes, I guess. I'd never truly embraced podcasting because I'm always busy on the radio, but we're going to give it a shot this year. That'll wrap it up. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing to the feed. If you're not subscribed already to the Fantasy Points feed, please do so. And oh, by the way, throw me a bone here and give me a good review. Give us a good review. It doesn't have to be me. You can make up somebody. Give Steve a good review as long as it's on the Fantasy Points feed. Thanks a lot for listening. We'll catch you next time.